Have you ever looked at your savings account and felt proud? You should. After all, most people struggle to save anything at all. But what if I told you that the very thing making you feel financially secure could be quietly making you poorer every single day? Not because you're spending too much, not because you're making bad decisions, but because your money is standing still while everything around it keeps moving. And that changes everything. Most people spend years chasing a bigger savings account. $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. Every extra dollar feels like progress. Every milestone feels safer. But there's a hidden problem almost nobody talks about. The money sitting in your bank account is fighting a battle it cannot win. Because while your balance stays the same, the cost of everything else keeps rising. Food becomes more expensive, housing becomes more expensive, healthcare becomes more expensive, transportation becomes more expensive, life becomes more expensive. And slowly, without making a sound, inflation starts eating away at your purchasing power. You don't see it happening. You don't get a warning. You just wake up one day and realize that the money you worked so hard to save doesn't stretch nearly as far as it used to. And that's when many people discover a difficult truth. Saving money protects wealth, but it rarely creates it. Now, before anyone misunderstands me, saving is incredibly important. In fact, investing without savings is like building a house without a foundation. The problem isn't saving. The problem is stopping there. Think of it this way. Imagine two people each have $10,000. The first person locks it away and never touches it. The second person puts it to work through long-term investing. 10 years pass, then 20, then 30. At first, there isn't much difference. The progress seems slow, almost invisible. But eventually, something remarkable happens. The money that was working begins producing more money, and that new money starts producing even more money. The growth begins stacking on itself, year after year, decade after decade, until what started as a small gap becomes an enormous one. This is where most people give up, because compounding doesn't feel impressive in the beginning. In fact, the early years can feel almost identical to failure. You contribute money, you check your account, and almost nothing seems to happen. A few dollars here, a few dollars there. Certainly not enough to feel life-changing. That is the stage where many people quit, not because investing doesn't work, but because the rewards arrive much later than the effort. Think about planting a bamboo tree. For years, almost nothing appears above the soil. You water it, you care for it, you wait, and from the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. Then suddenly, growth explodes. What people don't see are the roots that were developing beneath the surface the entire time, building strength, building stability, preparing for rapid growth. Investing works in a very similar way. The first phase rewards patience, the second phase rewards consistency, and the final phase rewards the people who stayed long enough to let time do its job. The challenge is that most people want force-sized results while they're still planting seeds. This is why the biggest wealth divide isn't between rich and poor. It's often between people who store money and people who own assets. So how do you actually make that transition? How do you move from saving money to growing money without taking reckless risks? It starts with one simple step. Build your fortress. Before you invest a single dollar, create an emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of living expenses. No exceptions. This money is not designed to grow. It's designed to protect, because life doesn't send calendar invitations before emergencies arrive. Cars break down, jobs disappear, unexpected expenses happen. Your emergency fund keeps temporary problems from becoming financial disasters. Think of it as the moat around your castle. The stronger it is, the safer everything inside becomes. Once that's in place, move to step 2. Separate your money into different missions. One of the biggest mistakes new investors make is treating every dollar the same. Your emergency money has one job: protection. Your investment money has a completely different job: growth. The moment you mix those two purposes together, emotions take control. A market dip suddenly feels terrifying. Every headline feels personal. Every fluctuation feels like danger. But long-term investing only works when you give your money time to do its job. Money invested for the future should be viewed differently. Not as spending money, not as emergency money, but as future you money. Step 3 is where many people overcomplicate things. They think they need thousands of dollars to begin. They think they're too late. They think they missed their chance. None of that is true. The most powerful force in investing isn't a large starting amount. It's consistency. Someone investing a small amount every month for decades can outperform someone who waits years for the perfect moment. Consider two friends. The first starts investing amount today. Nothing impressive, nothing that would make headlines. The second decides to wait until they earn more money. They tell themselves they'll start next year. Then next year becomes the year after that. And before they realize it, 5 or 10 years have disappeared. Ironically, the person who started small often ends up ahead, not because they had more money, but because they gave their money more time. And in investing, time is often more valuable than talent. The market doesn't reward perfect predictions. It rewards participation, it rewards patience, and it rewards those who keep showing up long after the excitement has faded. The habit matters more than the amount. The discipline matters more than the excitement. A few dollars invested consistently can become something extraordinary when given enough years. Step 4 is where most people get distracted. Everyone wants the secret stock, the hidden opportunity, the next overnight success story. But history tells a different story. The people who quietly build wealth are often doing something surprisingly boring. They're buying broad market index funds, not chasing headlines, not making emotional decisions, not gambling on predictions, just steadily owning small pieces of thousands of companies and allowing time to do the heavy lifting. Boring doesn't make exciting videos, but boring builds fortunes. Now, I know exactly what some people are thinking. What if I start investing and the market crashes? That's one of the biggest fears in personal finance. But here's the strange reality. When you're investing consistently, market crashes aren't always the enemy. Imagine walking into your favorite store and finding everything marked down 50%. You'd probably be excited. Yet, when investments go on sale, many people panic. Long-term investors understand something different. Temporary declines often mean future opportunities. The lower prices go, the more ownership your money can buy, and over long periods of time, that can become incredibly powerful. If you're getting value from this video, hit the like button. Not because it helps me, because every reminder to learn about money is a reminder to invest in yourself. And that habit can change your future. Now let's bring all of this together. Imagine holding a jar full of seeds. Inside that jar, the seeds are perfectly safe. Nothing can happen to them. Nothing can hurt them. But nothing can grow either. Years pass, and the seeds remain exactly the same. Now imagine planting those seeds in the ground. Suddenly, things become uncertain. There are storms, there are seasons, there are setbacks. But there is also growth. Eventually, those tiny seeds become something far greater than they ever could have become sitting safely in a jar. That's the difference between saving and investing. Saving protects potential, investing unlocks it, and financial freedom is rarely built by choosing one over the other. It's built by understanding when each has a purpose. Savings create stability. Investing creates this opportunity. Savings give you security. Investing gives you freedom. You need both. The goal isn't to stop saving. The goal is to stop letting all of your money stand still. Because every dollar has a choice: remain idle or go to work. And the dollars that work the hardest are usually the ones that change lives. Years from now, you'll either look back and be grateful that you started, or you'll wish you had. The difference between those two futures isn't usually intelligence, it isn't luck, and it isn't having a perfect strategy. It's making the decision to begin before you feel completely ready. Because nobody ever feels completely ready. Every successful investor starts with uncertainty. Every successful investor starts with questions. And every successful investor eventually reaches a moment where they stop waiting and take the first step. That step may seem small today, but years from now, it could become one of the most important financial decisions you ever make. So tell me in the comments, are your financial seeds still sitting safely in the jar, or have you started planting them? Let me know below. And if you're ready to learn how ordinary people build extraordinary wealth over time, subscribe to the channel and join us in the next video.